How does the government work? If you sometimes hear in March that the elections are coming up, then that is the time when the members of Rikigogo are changed. The better a party looks, the more mothers and fathers elect the candidates nominated by that party to the Rikigogo. The party that has received more votes will have a greater say and will rule, and parties with less support will have to accept a smaller number of seats this time and will remain hopeful for the next opportunities. Those who enter the Rikigogo on the basis of election results are called members of the Rikigogo, and in Rikigogo they usually belong to a group of deputies or a fraction. For example, if more than half of the people who went to the polls are in favor of the Mushroom Party, then it is the Mushroom Party's job to put together a government. The government is made up of 15 important people: the Prime Minister or the head of the government, and 14 ministers. They manage the life of the Estonian state through their ministries to make things better than before, both according to the old laws that already exist and according to those laws that Rikigogo will create. The government itself is focusing on finding out what new laws are still needed. As mentioned before, the fractions that have a numerical majority in Rikigogo will have a greater say. At least 51 people out of 101 members should belong to the fraction, and they will form a governing union or governing coalition. The rest of the members are the opposite front, aka the opposition. What does the minority or the opposition do in Rikigogo then? They are not being lazy either. Suppose that the coalition develops an idea of how to get mushrooms from the forest in early July and how it would be possible to grow them in the city. At the same time, the opposition will be discussing different matters. For example, the Gazebo Party, the Birch Party, will be discussing how can people stockpile wood so everyone has enough to make fires. The Gazebo Party prepares a law on how, where, and when should the heating logs be stored in the country, which means that there are less opportunities for mushroom pickers. But the Union of Computermen think that the idea of stockpiling wood is stupid, because they don't think that there is anything to do with old-fashioned stoves. The fewer people support the written law, the less it is likely to go through. The will of the majority, that is the government coalition, will always remain on top. What do people do in Rikigogo? The Rikigogo meetings are chaired by either the speaker or the deputy speaker, who opens up the sitting. The number of people present is checked first, and although the agenda is quite tight, time is always found for members of the Rikigogo to be able to submit inquiries and bills to the speaker if they wish so. What is an inquiry? The most common inquiries are for ministers, and mostly they are asked about unusual incidents or events presented to the public by journalists. For example, a member of the Rikigogo wants to know from the Minister of the Interior Relations why so many ATMs have been destroyed recently and whether there is any threat of robbers. The Minister of Agriculture will be asked about the potato harvest, and an inquiry will be submitted to the Foreign Minister about some of the Estonian ambassadors. But who is most important in our country? Is it the president, the government or Rigigogo? Think about it. The president is the head of the state. Everyone knows the president, and we only have one. Not everyone can name all the members of Rigigogo. The more active ones are better known because they appear in public often. Others are less known. They are more modest, though certainly wise in their field. The ministers are often seen on television. The president is elected by Rigigogo or by the electoral board of the president of the republic. In addition to Rigigogo on the board, it will include one representative from each rural municipality or city. The president, elected by secret ballot, will hold office for 5 years. After the elections for Rigigogo, the president shall submit to Rigigogo a candidate for prime minister. If the majority agrees with this choice, the prime minister will receive permission from the Rigigogo to form a government. The members of the government are appointed and dismissed by the president. What do they get paid for? Sometimes a meeting of Rigigogo is broadcasted on TV, with not very many members present. People at home watching will shake their heads angrily and say, "They do not work, but they still get paid. What do they get paid for?" Do not get angry that easily. It is, for example, a teacher's job to teach lessons, but that does not mean that when they're not in front of the classroom that they are not doing their job. Homework needs to be graded, lessons need to be prepared. That's all part of a teacher's job. The daily work of a member of Rigigogo certainly includes being in the meeting hall and drafting discussions or inquiries. However, if they have already expressed their opinion and they have an urgent matter to attend, they are able to leave the meeting and return for the voting. So what can the Member of Parliament be doing while they're not at the meeting? Are they cleaning their unwashed windows at home? No, definitely not. They will be probably working on their speech or reading an email and answering it that was sent to them. In the committee room, there is a television in the corner with a clear view of the meeting hall. There, they can do their work without annoying others, and at the same time keep an eye out for their meeting. Members of the Rigigogo are representatives of the people, and they're sometimes invited to open exhibitions, hold meetings, meet with foreign guests, and participate in different events.